Welcome back to Turner Tools, EdTech tips and tricks to help you work smarter, not harder.
All right, so we're actually going to get into creating a book. So let me just get out for a second. To create a new book, you're just going to click on New Book, and you're going to select the size that you want to use. So the only difference between the top and the bottom are the templates that you get when you go into the book. So we also have actual templates that are for different types of books. So we have newspapers, which that could be really fun in a social studies class among other classes. I just tend to see that social studies classes tend to like to do newspapers from different time periods. But we have photo books, so you could even create a short little yearbook or end of the year report right in Book Creator that you could share with your administrator and staff. Like cookbooks you can create, yearbooks, textbooks, magazines, notebooks, even write fiction and have a published fiction book that just has like text, no pictures. So then we also have different themes that you can actually start a book with, whether fantasy, graffiti, retro, antique, lots of different options. I'm just going to show you some of those options. I went into the fantasy theme. And I'll show you that one. So it gives you the kind of book cover, and then it gives you kind of some different ideas for what a section heading or different pictures might look like on the book itself. So there we go. So that is the fantasy one. But if then we go into like something like, say, a photo book, it's just going to give you some different layout ideas. And then also when you go into Explore, it'll just give you some different options there. So there we go. Those are the two options. I'm going to just do a regular book from scratch, plain, and we'll start from there. So I've already put in the text for the book, but I'm going to show you how to put in text as well, of course. So let's start with a cover. The book that I chose to do is The Ant and the Grasshopper. So I'm going to get some images straight off that I can put on the cover. And to do that, I'm just going to go to the plus sign. The plus sign is going to let you add anything, whether it's text or auto draw options, the camera, because you can actually record things right in here, take pictures and stuff. So I'm going to go to import. The images search is actually going to search for open source images that don't need to be sourced. But if you want your students to source them, you can do that. So I'm just going to look for a grasshopper. And it's going to give me some options that I can use if I want to. So I think I'm going to go for a realistic grasshopper this time rather than kind of a comic idea. I'm going to add that in. So now I have my grasshopper. But I'm also going to need an ant. So I'm going to look for an ant. All right, I think I'm going to go for that one. Hopefully, if we're lucky, it won't have a background on it. And it doesn't. Excellent. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And you'll notice that I can do that by using the four corners, just like any image. And you'll notice that this ant is on top of our this picture. And so we can actually change that if we wanted to. So say the ant was in the back by going to this I button. This is going to give us the opportunity to modify anything that it is that we currently have selected. So you'll notice that you can actually add the attribution. So if I do that, it's actually going to add where the image came from. Okay, so you can actually do that. Let me click on my little ant guy. I can also add a hyperlink or a web address. So anything can be clickable. So images can be clickable, text can be clickable, any options there. So what I was talking about so if I send this to the back, that means that now my ant is behind the picture of the grasshopper. So that's just something to keep in mind if you can't get things exactly the way that you want it to be. So I'm going to bring him back to the front. And so there's my little ant guy. I can also right click on him and move to the front and back as well. I can also lock things in place. So if I lock it, that means that it cannot be moved. Okay. So if I put it in, that's exactly where I want it. Okay. All right. So I have this now. I need the title of my book. So I'm going to do the plus sign again, because again, I'm adding something else. Please note that if I am on something, it's still, if I click the plus button, it's going to show me everything. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to add the text, and I'm going to call it the grasshopper and the ants. And I can't see it, right? Because it's in black. So I'm going to have my text clicked. Okay, if I click on it again, it's going to allow me to edit the text. But if I'm just selected on the text and I click the I, it's going to give me all of my text options, just like it did for my images. So I'm going to increase the size, and I'm also going to change the color. We can also add additional colors that we want from the color wheel. And there we go. So I'm just going to do blue, I think. Go back. I'm going to increase that size a little bit, and I can also center justify it. Okay, I can also bold it. I can also change the font. I am a bit of a fontophile, so which means I really like fonts. So I like that there's a lot of fonts. Of course, there are never enough fonts in the world for me. So of course, I want them to keep adding more fonts. So I think I'm going to go with that one. And I can also give it a shadow, which you would see a little bit more if I had a lighter background. And I can also add a background to the text itself. So maybe it's some images, it's really hard to see the text. So I can add a background to that as well. So I'm not going to do that for this one because I can see the text. All right. I also need to add in more text because I have to add in the author, because that's me. It's also Aesop, right? So I should say Aesop as well, because that's who the original story was. Now, the reason why I used Aesop is because Aesop is open source. I actually got it off of Project Gutenberg. So great resource to use if you just want students to kind of just experience Book Creator before they actually start doing it. You can actually have them do that, have them recreate a story. And it's good practice for them. And then they can actually create their own original stories after that. So sometimes I like to do that with products, is that I like to have the actual content not be something super difficult, but we're learning the process so that then it can be on a choice board or an option for them later on. So there we go. There is our cover. I think I'm just going to give the background. So without anything clicked, I can then go to the eye and I can actually change the background of the page. Okay, so there we go. Now we have the grasshopper and the ants. I might even duplicate some of my ants so that I have more than one ant, because it does say "and the ants," right? So I'll do a couple more ants there. So there we go. There we got a couple of ants going on. All right, so there we go. There's grasshopper and the ants. So now I go to my first page and I have my text. And I inserted and pasted this text in just like I created my text on the first page. Okay, so I just went to the plus sign and then I added text. Okay, and then I pasted that text in. So there is the text there, and now I have to illustrate it. So I decided to put it on the bottom, the text size. So I'm going to just click on the text once, go to my eye. It's an 18. I think I'm just going to increase this font size just a little bit. And I'm also going to center justify it as well. So I think I just want that text box to look just a little bit more together. So that's why I'm just decreasing the size of that slightly. And you'll notice that when I move around that text box, I see that red line. That tells me that that's the center of the page. And it's going to do that for the horizontal and vertical line. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to add an image a little different way this time. I'm actually going to go to the pen, and I'm going to go to auto draw, because auto draw is actually right in Book Creator. So now it's asking me to start drawing, so I'm going to do that. I doubt that my drawing ability on the computer is going to give me an ant, but let's see. Maybe we'll get an ant. I am a oh, we got an ant. Look at that. Awesome. So there we go. There's my ant. So I can actually say the X right here because I got what I was looking for. I'm going to say done. And then what it does is it creates that little ant guy right in my book. So I'm gonna copy that one. I could have done Control C and Control V. So now I can do a bunch of ants around on my page. So there's my ants, and now there's no way I'm going to be able to draw a grasshopper. So I think I'm going to go to import on that one. I'm going to search for a grasshopper. And I'm going to say clip art on there. And I'm going to search for that. All right, let's see. We'll go with that one. This is probably the part that takes the students the longest, is to find their images. So just a little suggestion for you. Don't let them do the images first, okay? Because that's definitely going to take the longest on it. So make sure that they have their text in before they start doing the images, okay? So, and you can build images on top of each other. So I think I'm going to do another import, and then do a background outside clip art. All right, not getting exactly what I want to. So I might do cartoon background. Oh, there's one right there. I like that one. It has trees and it has a sun, and that's going to work for me. But I'm going to have a problem because it's going to be on top of all of my pictures. It just takes a minute or so to get in there. So now it's covered over everything. That's not going to work for me. So I need to send this picture to the back. So to do that, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to, I could right click on it as well, but I also can go to the eye, and I'm going to send it to the back. So there we go. There is my image right in the backwards. Now I have another issue. My grasshopper is white in the background. So that's something that you also have to talk about to students, is making sure that your images are PNGs. PNGs meaning that there is no white background. So let me show you how I solve that problem. So I'm actually just going to go to a Google search, and I am going to look for a cartoon grasshopper. Now it's a little bit more complicated, I'm not going to lie. And I am just going to make sure that my usage rights are Creative Commons license, of course. And so I'm going to look for a cartoon grasshopper that I like. I think I'll go with this one. And I'm going to save it. Well, we'll see if it'll work. Right now, with all that checker behind it, it's making me think perhaps that it's that it might be transparent, but sometimes Google lies. So I really like that one too. What do I want to do, guys and gals and gender neutral? What do I want to do? All right, let's give this one a try. I'll save that image too. Let's see. And like I said, this is a Creative Commons license, so I don't have to source it. So let's go back to my book. Let's try to import that image and see if that'll be enough. Let's see if it's an actual. Oh, it is! Yay! Yay! It is. The only issue that I sometimes have with Book Creator is that it doesn't let me flip images. So that's going to be an issue, but it's okay. We'll make it work because that's what we do, right? All right, so I'm just going to move my little ant guys over here, and I'm actually going to decrease the size of my little ant guys because they shouldn't be quite as big as my grasshopper. Okay. And you'll notice that I'm kind of just moving things around so that I can get at the images because they're behind the grasshopper. Come on, let's go. So I just need to get my grasshoppers. And my grasshopper, there's only one of them. And my ants exactly where I want them. Oh, looks like I double-clicked on that guy for a second. All right, let's get our grasshopper into position. All right, so there we go. The ants were bustling about in the warm sunshine and a starving grasshopper. So there we go. And we have our picture, we have our background, we have our grasshopper. So there we go. Now we can go on to the next page. So that's what your students would do. They just go in through each page and get their text and their images all correct. And then, so why don't I go back to the previous page and I'll show you how you can actually add the audio. So I'm going to go to the plus and click record. And you, of course, have to allow your microphone. And I'm going to hit start recording. And then I'm just going to read my text. So on one bright day in late autumn, a family of ants were bustling about in the warm sunshine, drying out the grain they had stored up during the summer, when a starving grasshopper, his fiddle under his arm, came up and humbly begged for a bite to eat. All right, so then you can preview it and listen to it and then click use recording. And now you can put that little audio anywhere that you want to on the page. Okay, so now that page is completely done. I have added audio, I have added our images and our text. So, and so that was under record, under the plus sign. Okay, so another thing that we can do, and I'm just going to do this on this page and it doesn't have anything to do with ants or grasshoppers, is that we can also we can embed things. So we can embed a Google form. We could embed a YouTube video. So I'm just going to show you that one because I think it's a pretty easiest one for us to do. So I'm just going to go to YouTube and I'm going to search for Aesop grasshopper. I'm just going to find a little video. And so there's one right there. It's a nice little, all right. And I'm going to go to share and I'm going to go to the embed. I'm going to copy that and go back to our book and put the embed in there. And then there we go. There's the video. That was so fast, wasn't it? So there we go. There is a YouTube video. We can also do a Google form, okay? And so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go grab a form. Let's do. All right, so I just grabbed the link to a Google form. So just to review when I did the actual preview link. So that's the link that I grabbed, okay? And then I'm just going to paste the link. In the case of a Google form, you just need the link. So there we go. There is the link. I'm going to add it. And now there is the Google form. So a person would just have to click on that and they would be good to go. So there is a Google form. You can also, if you've noticed, one of the options is a Flipgrid. So you could also add a Flipgrid in there. You could add an Adobe Spark. You can add a spreadsheet. You really are only limited by your own imagination as to what you can embed. As long as there's an embed code that the book can put in there, it's going to put it in there. So lots and lots of options. You can put different files. So that was what I did when I imported the grasshopper, right? Is that was a file that I could add in. Okay. We also can import directly from your Google Drive. The only caveat with that is that you want to make sure that the Google Drive file is public. Okay, so that's important. You can also put in a Google Map as well. So lots of options for us within the book. I think it's really helpful to make those interactive options there. So we can also go to the camera. So let's do that. I'm going to allow my camera. So not only the reason why it's not working right now, and you probably just saw that, was that when I do the camera, I can record a video or I can take a picture. Okay, so definite on both options. So I could record a video right in there. Again, the only reason why there's an error there is because I'm already using my camera to record this video. So that is about it on how to actually utilize the book creator portion. The next video, we'll look at some more things that we need to know about book creator.
Thank you for tuning in to Turner Tools. Remember to like and subscribe. I hope you learned something new to help you make awesome happen. Have a fabulous day.